So I feel immensely proud and privileged to have been associated with a group of very courageous South Africans, white South Africans, who stood up and resisted the South African army. Not because they were cowards, not because they were traitors, but precisely because they cared about the future, they cared about other human beings, and they cared about human rights. Alright, so that's about
That's it.
I mean, the whole thing about erasure of history, I did identify.
Yeah, no, you did touch on that,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, the next question I want to ask is, when I look at your photographs and I view them, I get a distinct sense that there's an inextricable and very compassionate link to the humanity of the subjects that make up your photographs, that make up the compositions, that even if it's an SADF conscript or even if it's a scene of a group of people, there's a very human eye that I can imagine taking the photograph. There's no distancing, there's no objectifying of your subject matter. And I'd just like to get an inkling into your approach to photojournalism and the manner in which you humanize your photographs.
Well, you know, a lot of the projects that I've done in the past, and even today now, are about the human condition and about how people find themselves in society. And it's very difficult for me to look at people and objectify them. You know, you're just a statistic, or you'll make a good shot. I obviously do that when one takes a photograph. You kind of like you're aware of that person's lifestyle and who they are and what they're going through, but at the same time one feels a kind of empathy that you want to record at the same time. So I've always been aware of, let's say, these two almost disparate tendencies of feeling kind of compassion for somebody and at the same time objectifying and recording their lives. And it's a kind of a game that happens within the camera with me, and it's a kind of process that can either happen in moments, you know, as they happen, or they kind of happen through portraiture or feeling an intimacy and a closeness and a empathy with the subject. And you know, I've been in diverse scenarios, and you know, throughout my life. On one day I could be, you know, on a white farm, you know, with photographing that scenario, and the next moment I could be with workers in a factory. For me, people are people, and they're kind of caught up in processes in history, and I've always just been open to who that person is, rather than, you know, trying to judge them and trying to impose my set of prejudices on people. I rather would just try and allow a kind of a space for them to express themselves, and for me to be the receiver of their choices and their manifestations as they find themselves.